Yes, you are welcome to the Success Capsule series, the first edition. And my name is Jeremiah Adediranadeoyejeremiah again. If you're live, say hi, thumbs up. Today, we are going to be looking at four wealth creation principles. Four wealth creation principles. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. All right. Border Armor, you're welcome. You're welcome. We are looking at four wealth creation principles. Yes. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be powerful today. This is the first edition uh, that we are holding. And honestly, I promise you that it will hold once in a month. Less. It will hold once in a month. This is an opportunity to be a blessing to some people. This is an avenue to also uh, impact lives. Oh, you're welcome, Ajibade Oluwadamilare Isaac. You're welcome. You're welcome. You can just type the city or the country you are joining from so that we will know your destination, where you're actually joining us from. And you can easily also subscribe to my YouTube channel for subsequent meetings and so many other things. It will amaze you that in 2017, I started sharing, oh, Bodamo is joining from Shagamu, Ogun State. You're welcome. Then Ajibade is watching from Gosu platform. All right, I guess that's Gospel Student Union of the Holy Trinity Gospel Church. Yes, my people, my people. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. So I was saying that in 2017, I started uh, sharing success capsules on WhatsApp. And it was something that later turned out to be what friends, families, um, clients, customers, friends all over the world wants to have every morning. And I thought at first that people were not reading it. But it just shocked me that each time I meet someone and probably I pause for a while, the person will say, oh, it's been a while. Heard your, we saw your success capsule. We have not taken your capsule in a while. Feromi, you are welcome. Yes, Feromi has been part of the planning team for this very meeting that we are all benefiting tonight. He has done so much. Feromi, well done. All right. So, and later, so I did that for about 4 or 5 years. I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And I had to pause because I was getting busier by the day. And I started what I call the Saturday Thought. Saturday Thoughts. And Saturday Thought is still in vogue. We're still holding the Saturday Thought every Saturday. If I miss it, maybe on a few occasions. All right. So, and since last year, it's been on my mind that we're going to start something online that everybody around the world is also going to be benefiting from it. And here we are today. We are making it happen. And the first edition is live. The first edition is live. The fourth edition is live. The first edition is live. So today I'm going to be teaching us, or we're going to be discussing uh, from one of my books. One of my books. I titled the book Business Acts, 8 Wealth Creation Principles from the Prophet. This is the book. The book actually came out in 2021. 2021. Yes, and is honestly going viral. A lot of people have bought the book. Quite a number of people are still buying, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. So you will ask me that what qualifies someone like me to, you know, discuss wealth creation. Wealth creation. I know somebody will be asking me, oh, was he born with a silver spoon himself? Is he that wealthy? Is he that wealthy? All right. So some time ago, many years ago now, I started what I call entrepreneurship journey from the scratch. I started from the scratch. Nothing, no cover from no one, from nobody, uh, just the grace of God. But here we are today. We are not where we used to be, but we are not where we want to be. So I want to believe that wealth creation, gender or a particular nation or a particular category of people, anybody, if you look at it, if you look at it very well, how come it is 1% of the world population that is holding on to about half of the wealth that is available all over the world? I'm very serious about this. Just 1% of the world population have been able to amass more than half, or about a half of the uh, wealth that is available in the world. Is that not amazing? Is that not shocking? That statistics is crazy. So let's look at what is wealth itself. What is wealth? When we are talking about wealth, what is wealth? What do we mean by wealth? I will be making this meeting a little bit interactive. I'll be making it interactive for us to have one or two contributions from some other people who are online. So, what is wealth? Wealth is abundance of valuable material possession. Wealth is the abundance of valuable material possession that is available on the planet Earth. So we can sometimes quantify it uh, in terms of resources, assets, and money is just so what when some of us are thinking about wealth, when we're talking about wealth, a lot of us always think that when we talk about wealth, we are talking about money, cash, liquid, naira, dollar, pound sterling, euro, yen. A lot of people always think that that is what exactly we are talking about. But you see, money is just one of what makes a man wealthy. It's not all money. It's not all money. Yes, thank you, Bodamo. He says Wealth is abundance of valuable material possession that is available on the planet Earth. Yeah. Yeah. So let's share the webinar. Let's do well. Let's share it. For some of us that are online now, let's share it with our friends so that we can have so many people joining in. Just share, just share, just share, just share. You might be, rescuing somebody. You might be impacting somebody's life tonight. Let's share. So wealth is abundance of valuable material possession that is available on the planet Earth. Money inclusive. Money inclusive. Money inclusive. The economics, they have it in their own definition and says that money is the total value of person's assets minus debt. The total value of your assets minus your debt. So if I want to ask you, what are your own assets that you have? What are the assets that you think you have? Oh, the mobile phone, the clothes, the car you drive, the money in the bank. What are the valuable assets that you think you've got? What are the valuable assets? It says minus debt, minus debt, minus debt. Wealth is a sustainable possession. Sustainable possession. Sustainable. In other words, when we say something is sustainable, we mean that it can last for a while. It can last for a while. It's not just for a moment. It's not just temporary. It's not something that just comes. All of us know there's difference between a perennial river and uh, uh, a river that is just an annual river that flows maybe during rainy season and stop flowing during dry season. That can only provide water for a while. But when we're talking about wealth, we are talking about something sustainable, sustainable, sustainable. So the US, the United States of America, came up in 2021, their census department, the US Census of 2021, and they came up with some categorization for wealth that is in the hands of people, how wealthy people are. And they have the first category, they said, they categorize them based on the income that comes into their hand. And it will shock you that it's not about income. Wealth building, wealth creation is not about income. There are quite a number of people that earns millions of dollars per month, millions of naira per month, millions of yens per month, millions of pound sterling maybe per month. But that is not what makes somebody wealthy, because your ability to be able to accumulate some material possession, to be able to invest in some things like landed properties, estates, businesses, stocks and bonds, and so many other investments that are sustainable is what makes you a wealthy person. So it's not about the income. It's not about the income. How come in some organization we have the general manager, GM, earning, say, $10,000 in a month and does not have an estate? Whereas the security man in the same organization whose Mianga salary is just about to take him home has some investment into some shares, some stocks, some estates, landed properties, and some other valuable things that are sustainable. So it is not about money. It is not about money. It is not about money. It is about your ability to discipline yourself. A wealth creation is about your ability to have control over what comes into your hand. Wealth creation has to do with your ability to be able to save, to know how much to save, how much to spend, how much to, invest into some other things that can generate more income, either passive or active income for you subsequently. So I was talking about the US Census of 2021. So they said that people at the lower class, there are people that earn about $30,000. $30,000. They earn less than $30,000. But look at it. They now said people at the lower class in terms of wealth are people whose total wealth is about $12,000. You can see the margin. You can see the margin. So somebody is earning $30,000 or less than $30,000 is looked upon to be somebody at the lower level of the pyramid or the lowest level of the pyramid. Yet, in wealth creation, if your total wealth is about $12,000, we also categorize you to be at lower level. That's what the US says as regards the United States of America. I know based on exchange rate, you can be calculating, maybe somebody in Nigeria now can be calculating, oh, that's a whole lot of money. Oh, somebody in Nairobi, Kenya can be calculating, oh, that's a lot of money. Somebody in Dubai can be calculating, oh, that's big money. All right. So they also have the second category that they call lower middle class. And they said these people are the people that are earning between $30,000 to $68,000. People earning between $30,000 to $68,000. But look at it in terms of wealth creation, in terms of asset, in terms of wealth. They said the people at that level, they are people whose wealth is totaling about $61,260. $61,260. That is to say, if we sum up everything that you've got, and let me also shock you, when they are talking about wealth, we are talking about tangible things. We are talking about assets. We are talking about what you have as a total value minus your debt. So, for example, if your net worth is $10,000 and you are indebted to a bank up to, let's say, $5,000, then you must remove out of that $10,000 that is your net worth, and what you are left as your net worth is $5,000. I need you to have this in mind. So you are not that rich. You are not as rich as you might think you are if you are indebted. So they now move to the top category of people. They call these people middle class. They said middle class people are people that are earning income of between $68,000 to $94,000 per annum. $68,000 to $94,000. And now, to shock you, in wealth creation, the category of people who are middle class people, who are termed middle class people, as far as United States of America is concerned, are people whose asset is valued at $145,200. Is this not amazing that somebody is earning between maybe $68,000 to $94,000 per annum and is termed to be somebody at the middle class. Yet, if he's able to accumulate uh, assets, asset base of 145,000 plus, then is termed to be a middle class uh, individual. So let's look at who are upper middle class individuals based on this US census of 2021. They said the upper middle class people, they are people that earns 94K to 152K per dollar per annum. Now let's look at their categorization in terms of wealth creation. They said anybody whose wealth is totally valued at about $269,000 belongs to the upper middle class in the United States of America. And they now talk about upper class. Who are those in the upper class? They said anyone who earns between 100 anyone who earns from $153,000 per annum and above is termed to belong to the upper class in the United States of America. And in terms of wealth creation, they said those category of people who are termed to be at the upper class are people whose wealth is about $805,400. Oh, Ayodele, you're welcome. Yeah, good to have you here. Good to have you here. So now there are a category of people. Okay, before I go into that, before I go into my next point of discussion, let's look at the 4 types of wealth. The 4 types of wealth. Number 1, financial wealth. Number 2, social wealth. Number 3, physical wealth. Number 4, time is also a wealth. Time is wealth. Time is wealth. Time is wealth. So how will time be categorized as wealth? Let me give you this simple exercise to do. Go online and calculate the compound interest of somebody who is age 30 and starts to contribute 29,000 naira monthly to an account that has a compound interest, and is going to do this for the next 30 years. That is to say, he's 30 now, he's going to do it for 30 years, and the interest rate will be 12% every month. If you calculate this, you will actually realize that at the compound interest will be close to 100 million after 30 years. Now look at somebody who is 40 years contributing 29,000 naira for the next 30 years. And look at what the compound interest is going to be at the end of that 30 years at the same interest rate. You will discover that the margin will be wide. The margin will be what? Wide. The margin will be wide. That means that the other person who is 40 will have been 70. So let's look at it that he doesn't want to be 70 because the retirement age generally is about 60 to 65 years across the world in many industry and organizations. So let's look at it that the person is retiring at 60, and that contribution for compound interest is going to last for just when he will be 60. So that means he can only be opportune to do it for 20 years. You will discover that the margin between the compound interest of the total money that the person is just 30 now The amount of money that such a person will be able to accumulate over 30 years, we have a wide, till when he's 60, we have a very wide margin of maybe more than some um, some hundreds of millions, or no, some thousands of millions, within that same number of age. So you can see. So time is wealth. Time is wealth. Time is wealth. And that is why we need to use our time very well. So don't think you are that young. Don't think you are still young. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. So let me quickly go into our discussions for today, because I promise you we will leave this place just in the next maybe 30 something minutes. It's just going to be for 1 hour. It's just going to be for 1 hour. Share this, please. Let your friends and family, let them listen to it. Let them watch us. Let them join us. Share it, share it, share it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. All right. So let's look at, I promised you that I was going to give you 4 principles of wealth creation. So if we have delved into what is it that, when we are talking about wealth, what are we really talking about? We have spoken at length about that. We have spoken at length about that. So now, let's look at the principles of wealth creation. And I told you that I'm picking from this my book, Business Arc, the 8 wealth creation principles from the prophet. You can buy this on Seller. You can buy this on Seller. I can share the link so that as many people that are interested can go and buy the electronic copy. And you can also call maybe a publishing house on 09056833382 and get this. So this book is actually a story that fascinated me from the Holy Book, the Holy Bible. And it's from the book of 2 Kings, chapter 4, from verse 1 to 7. There is a story there that you and I need to read and read again, because I know a lot of us want to assume that spirituality uh, is the only thing that you need. Yes, I agree with you. You need spirituality, but spirituality should give you some common sense. Spirituality should give you some common sense. And that is what we are talking about today. So the world is ruled by principle. God himself respects principles because he put them in place so that human beings that are able to follow these principles can get some certain results from certain activities in life. So it's not a function of I'm spending 30 years on the mountain. If you've spent 30 years on the mountain or on the valley and you don't get the wisdom that you are expected to get, I'm sorry, you will not get the result that you are supposed to get, because the world responds to principles. Principles. One of such principles is the principle of sowing and reaping. Is a natural one. Whatsoever thing a man sows, he will reap. If you plant in your garden, planting, you are not going to reap or harvest cassava. You are going to harvest planting, exactly the one you planted. So there can only be a change if you did grafting. Maybe you planted plantain, and there's something in biology, I think, that they call grafting. So they will call a particular tree and merge it to another tree. Maybe you have a bitter lemon and a sweet lemon, and you want to take bitter lemon. So you can cut bitter lemon and graft it to the sweet lemon tree, so that at the end of the day, you can no longer have the bitter completely, but you can have an hybrid of the bitter and the sweet. So principle number, so it talks about the story. The story talks about a certain prophet who died in poverty, in penury. He was very anointed, but the guy died in poverty. He died very broke. He even left debt for his family. Remember, when we were talking about wealth, we said it is the total value of assets that you have minus debt. So this man died and left debt for his family, but he was an anointed man of God. He was a prophet in his time, probably a prophet that was even healing the sick and raising the dead, but yet he was in poverty. Why was he in poverty? He did not apply common sense. He did not use the anointing that is even God. All right. So, principle number 1, it says, relationship is the soul of every business. Relationship is the soul of every business. Wealth creation has to do with relationship. Wealth creation. And you remember when I was telling you the 4 types of wealth, I talked about financial wealth, then I mentioned social wealth. Social wealth. In other words, social capital. Social capital. So, in social wealth, which is relationship, you will discover that when the woman went to the prophet, when she went to prophet, said, "Oh, prophet, my husband, your servant, is late, but left us in debt, and even this, my 2 sons, my 2 children, the debtors are about to come and take them away because we were unable to pay off the debt. We were unable to pay off the debt." And the woman was expecting that the prophet would dip hand into his pocket or bring out his wallet and dole out some dollars or pound sterling. But the prophet did not do that. Because, we earlier said that wealth is not only about money. Wealth goes beyond money. Money is just one aspect of wealth. It's just a part of wealth. Money is not solely wealth. And that is why you will see people who win lottery, they will never be rated as one of the richest men that ever lived, even though they hit jackpots of hundreds of billions of dollars. They will never. Because that money that is earned, or that money that is gotten, if it's not well harnessed, if it's not well managed, cannot actually create wealth. So wealth creation has to do with wisdom, has to do with discipline, has to do with study, has to do with a lot of things that you can imagine. So I was talking about relationship. So one of the advice the prophet now gave her, okay, the prophet asked her, said, "Woman, what do you have?" She said, "No, I don't have anything." "No, I just told you, prophet, why are you so like this? You are just disturbing us. I already told you that my husband, your servant, he died in penury. He didn't leave anything. Even he's in debt. We can't pay this debt, and that's why they've come to take the children away." Excuse me. So The prophet will ask her once again, what exactly do you have? And that is the problem that every one of us or some of us have. We always think that we don't have anything. We always assume that we've got nothing. Not even those skills, not even those talents, not even those gifts, not even those potentials. The woman says she doesn't have anything. And the prophet asks again, what do you have, madam? I have, trained quite a number of people across the world. And one single thing, I remember training, mentoring, coaching a South African lady on the Cherry Blair Foundation for Women program years ago. And I was asking her, oh, she wanted to start a business. So I was asking her, I said, so what do you have? What do you have? She said, nothing. What do you have, young lady? Nothing. What are the resources you have? Nothing. Then I took her through what we call the SWOT analysis, where we look at what are your strengths, and I had to dig deeper into her personal life. Then we discovered that she has a house, a 4-bedroom apartment that belongs to her. And that was what eventually we converted into a guest house that is still thriving to today. I'm talking about maybe more than 8 years ago now. That's still the same business she's doing now. The business is booming and is growing by the day. I keep watching her several posts on Facebook, Instagram, and so many, and she had added so many things like logistics and so many other things. So eventually, this woman, this prophet widow, came out and said, oh, Oga, I remember your servant left a bottle of oil in the house. That is the only thing, no? Except that we have nothing. A bottle of oil, one useless bottle of oil at home. Then the prophet asked her to go and bring it. And when she brought the bottle of oil, he said, you are going to do something. What you will do is that you are going to go out right now into your neighborhood. You will go and borrow vessels, not small, not little, not few. Borrow plenty containers, drums, plenty. Go and borrow them. Just keep borrowing. Then the question I ask myself is that if you are not somebody that is very good to your neighbor, if you don't have a good will in the community where you live, among the people, who do you go to borrow you vessel? Who do you go to borrow you drum? Who do you go to lend you their own container? And women value their container. No matter how useless that plastic is, a woman still value it in her kitchen. In fact, in Nigeria here or in Africa, you will see women, they will go for party, ceremony, birthday, naming, wedding anniversary and wedding ceremony. And you will see among those things that will be distributed are plastic containers. The woman has plenty of it in her kitchen already or in her store. Then they give her this one too. She said, in fact, she's even fighting over it so that they can give her her own. If they don't share the thing to her end, she's frowning, she's not happy, she's angry. And these are the people that you are telling that this widow's prophet should go and meet them and borrow their vessels. You must, the prophet must have social capital. The prophet must have had a good will. The prophet's wife must have had a very good will amongst our people. Relationship. So the question I'm asking you is, if you need to go and borrow vessel like this prophet's widow? Who are those that you know in your circle, in the environment you live, in the community where you live, in your class as a student, in the estate where you live, in the business you do, where the location of your business is? Who are those that you think when you need vessels for emergency things like this? Who are those that you think can lend you vessels? Do you think people will even be willing to lend you vessels? Relationship. Because every wealthy person on this planet Earth, they leverage on relationship. They leverage on good relationship. They leverage on goodwill. Social capital. Social capital. Aliko Dangote is the richest man, they pronounce this richest man in Africa. But I bet you, Aliko Dangote has goodwill among the people that are in his circle. And what are the things that you must do? If you don't have goodwill, what are the things that you must put in place right now to give you a goodwill? People, you need people. People are they are important. You will see a big man holding wedding ceremony for his daughter or his son, and you will think that he's the one that is spending all the money. Don't be fooled. He's somebody that donated the cattle. He's somebody that is buying the ashwabi. He's somebody that is giving the car. He's somebody that is buying the fuel. He's somebody that is even loading his phone with recharge card. Relationship. Relationship. Very key, very important. Very key, very important. So the woman went out and sent even her children. Imagine, oh, she's not the only one that went out, but also sent her children to also go out and borrow vessels. Now, if you are that woman in the community where you live, you are that woman in that your place of work, you are that woman in that your school environment, you are that woman in that your neighborhood. Can you even send your children to somebody's house or to someone, one of your neighbors, and say, go tell them that they should give you or borrow you one of their precious vessels that we want to use it? We are talking about relationship. Ayodele, Bodamo, Ajibade Damilare. Who are those in your circle that can borrow you vessels on emergency? So if you check your phone and you need 10,000 naira and you can't pinpoint 1-2 people who can dash you 10,000 naira on the spot. I remember there was a time some years ago, maybe 2018, I was on my way to Ota, Ogun State for a meeting early in the morning. Then I had this fatal accident, very fatal accident. The car almost right off. And on that hotspot, I needed to call on some people. And you need to see how some of my friends, some of my people that I know, some of my mentors started sending, help. I'm telling you. You need people. You need people. I can categorically tell you that even though physically I was born into a family of parents who cannot use, in my own dialect, let me interpret it to English. They said they cannot use the bottom of a bottle to write O. That is to say, they cannot read and write. So who knows the Yorubas, in my local dialect, they say Talomo Kolomi lawyer, meaning who knows me, who knows my father's name. But it will shock you that I am seriously uh, networking, building relationships. I have been building relationships. I'm still building relationships. And relationships have helped me to this level. And I know relationships are going to help me far. So the woman kept borrowing vessel. Her children kept borrowing vessel here and there. And people were giving it without grumbling. Millionaires are people that, wealthy people, they are people that even their name alone command some respect, command some level of wealth. Honestly, you need to take into this. So I have a few questions. I have a few questions that I want you to ask yourself. Then I want you to type it. As I'm dictating it, I want you to type it so that some other people can read. All right. So how possible it is for you to talk to a stranger to borrow you one of his own tools? How possible is it for you to talk to a stranger and borrow you one of his own tools? Number two, how easy will it be for them to be willing to trust you with their own vessel? Somebody is not typing. How easy will it be for them to be willing to trust you with their own vessel? Number three, will they ask you about what you want to use the vessel for? Don't you think if you go to strangers or you go to people in your neighborhood, because let's just put ourselves in the condition of this woman, even though she got all the vessels she needed. So that means she thought she did not she's not wealthy. The husband would have thought that they were actually poor, but he had social capital that he could have also used uh, as a form of wealth. So maybe instead of going ahead to borrow 10,000 pounds from microfinance bank that has crazy interest rates, because when he died and he could not pay, his children were held to slavery. So maybe he should have even spoken to maybe 100 people in his neighborhood who can give him maybe 1,000 or 500 or 200 or 500, or even as little as, let's say, $10 each. Yes, because if you have 10 people giving you $10 free that you are not paying interest on, is better, more comfortable, uh, you are more at peace than when you go ahead and borrow $50 that you have to pay interest rate of maybe 20 or 10% or even 5% single digits. So number four, Mr. A sees that you borrow from Mr. B almost at the same time. What do you think they will be thinking about your sudden need for more vessels? These are the questions that were running through my mind. The possible, questions of things that will have happened in the course of this woman borrowing vessels, sending her children to go around and borrow vessels as well. Thank you, Bodamo. So I said, Mr. A sees that you just send your children to borrow from flat A. You sent uh, John, your son, to flat A. Then immediately, Sarah, your daughter, is also going to flat B. Don't you think the people will be suspicious of your sudden need for vessels? Number five, and what will be their reaction if they discover that you're about to use it for something substantial, something good? Oh, I'm not sure I'll be able to do 4 principles tonight, but let's just do this one and do justice to. If it's one we are able to do justice to, let's do it very well. If it's two, let's do it very well. At another time, we will continue. So, number 5, will anybody be willing to lend a stranger their vessel without requesting for anything in return, or without a written agreement? Peradventure, you misuse their vessel or get it damaged in your hands. These are some of the questions that, are running through my mind, picturing that woman, that prophet widow. Relationship. But you know that relationship we erase, and good relationship will cancel all the negativity from all these questions. Will not even allow anybody to even have this thought at all. And even if this thought comes to their mind, they will ignore it and look at it as an investment, or as impact, or as their own contribution into your life. That is what relationship can do. That is what relationship can do. So relationship is the soul of business. And in relationship, you must allow people to trust you. Integrity is very important. People only give you things free because it means that, okay, I said people will only give you things free you will get interest-free loan from business people that you know. The help that you need is not far. The help that you need is not far from where you live or do business. The great treasure that you have to enable you discover the fast or recover fast any loss is in the people that you have. Don't be proud. Don't talk to people anyhow. Instructions are essential. So when your mind is telling you to take some actions, don't hesitate. Your mind is telling you, oh, talk to A about this problem. Talk to B. Don't be proud. Be flexible. You don't have it all. Even the rich ask for help. Excuse me. Even the rich ask for help. And that is why you see the rich don't actually fight. The wealthy don't actually fight. Now, there are a category of people that they call them ultra high net worth people. Ultra high net worth people. These are people that are stinkingly rich in assets. These are people whose net worth is not in thousands or hundreds of thousands, but they are having net worth of assets of billions of dollars. We call them ultra high net worth individuals. And it will shock you, it will amaze you that these people are very few on the planet Earth. Very, very few. Very, 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 very few. Very few individuals. They are very, very, very few. They are very few. They are very few. They are very few. They are very, very few. So, even though some of us may say, oh, we cannot all be as rich as Warren Buffett. We cannot all be as rich as Dangote. We cannot all be as wealthy as Femi Otedola of Nigeria. But we are not all made to be poor. Yeah. So let's look at the second point, the second principle, wealth creation principle, before we call it a day. Do not borrow to eat, borrow to invest or do business. There are certain people that all they do is borrow to eat, borrow to buy, you know, a mobile phone, borrow to buy car that they are not using for business. It's not an investment. It's not a money generating investment for them. It's not a business. It is just for pleasure, for leisure. In fact, when we are looking at what classified or what qualified the ultra high net worth people, they said even the house they live in is not, you know, they said that they must be earning or they must have a net worth of some billions, excluding of the house they live in. So someone is a business person, someone is a salary earner, is an employee with a particular bank in Nigeria or a particular multinational or a Fortune 500, and all you've got is just a big apartment that you've built or bought for yourself. You are not wealthy. I'm sorry, you are not wealthy. If you don't have passive income, you don't have some sort of investment in stocks, in shares, in real estate, around some other places, you are not at the level you think you are. So do not borrow to eat, but borrow for investment. Borrow for investment. A lot of people, they borrow, 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 borrow. Everything is debt, including the clothes they wear. They take it on credit. They use their credit card anyhow. 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 The problem with the prophet was that maybe the prophet was just borrowing to eat, not for investment. Because if the prophet had actually been borrowing to invest, maybe even if he borrowed to buy a particular land that was on sale in his neighborhood, the land will have been sold and the land will have appreciated in value. When he died, instead of the children, the wife, in problem, that land will have been sold. If the prophet had taken that loan and put it in some bond or treasury bill, he must have accumulated interest that can even pay off the debt, and the family will have in excess. So do not borrow to eat. Some people, their total asset is the car they drive. Their total wealth, or yes, what seems to be wealth to them, their own definition of wealth, is the phones they have with them. Some other people, it is the cloth that is in their wardrobe. So what are the reasons? Why is it that it's not good for you to actually borrow to eat, but for investment? The wealthy, they get to a level where they do what we call using other people's money. Other people's money, OPM. Oh, it's about 1 hour now. Let me quickly read it and we will leave this place in the next 2 minutes. Number one, you may not be able to pay back or pay back on time if you borrow to eat. Number two, you will have given people who could help you the impression that you are okay because you are borrowing to buy the things you don't need. One of my mentor will say, borrowing the money you don't have to buy the things you don't need so that you can oppress the people that are not even looking at you. My mentor, Reverend Albert Femi Oduwole, will always say that. Said you are borrowing the money you don't have to buy the things you don't need so that you can oppress the people that are not interested. Because you are giving everybody impression that you are okay, whereas you are not okay. Number three, you will not allow God's miracle in your life. Yes, even if God wants to do some miracle, you will not allow it. because you already, you know, presented yourself. Then you will not even depend on God. You will not depend on God. You will not depend on God. You will lose integrity. You will lose integrity. Your health will be at stake. Your health will be at stake. Your health will be at stake. Then you will keep struggling financially. You keep struggling financially because you are just borrowing to eat. You are not borrowing for investments. You will be struggling. You'll be struggling. Then you may never be able to live an independent life because people will be all over you, asking you for what you've borrowed from them to be refunded. Your debtors will eventually become your enemy. You will always live in shame. All right, let me leave you with this quote from Adam Smith. He said, "What can be added to the happiness of a man who is in health, out of debt, and has a clear conscience?" I will say that again. He says, "What can be added to the happiness of a man who is in health, out of debt, and has a clear conscience?" Let me end this from the Holy Book, Proverbs 22, verse 7. "The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower becomes the lender's slave." Thank you for your time. I will see you uh, the last day of the month of February. Thank you. Do we have some questions? Do we have some questions? Do we have some questions? Questions, 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 questions. Before I leave your face, questions. I will entertain two questions, then we call it a day. All right, so I've done 2 out of 4. I've done 2 out of 4. Did I try? Questions, questions, questions. All right, in the absence of any question, let's call it a day. So thank you for joining. Please share this, let it go viral, let some other people be able to watch this after now, and you need to subscribe to my channel. Thank you. It's been a wonderful time, Amo. Feromi, Boda Amo, Ayodele, and the rest. Thank you for joining.